Hey Andy, welcome.
All right.
Good to see you. I didn't see you before.
No problem.
City will convene for a regular meeting at the Elmendorf City Hall at 7 p.m. June 20th, 2019. Call to order. Pledge of allegiance.
Aye. Please, aye.
7:01 p.m.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You remain standing for the invocation.
We thank you, Father, for this day. For those who were complaining and concerned about how cold it was months ago, well, the heat is on, and it is here. But we have many things on the agenda, including resolutions, rezoning, and of course, water again, among other things. There are items that will be presented and discussed, and we ask for everything that we can as far as understanding. Those things that need to be tabled, those things that need to be voted on, those things we need further discussion. Whatever it may be, to hear everyone who needs to be heard and be receptive to responses and decisions that are made. Amen.
Amen.
Roll call.
Tracy Dionis, present.
What about another present?
Manuel Vicena present.
Linda Peña Ortiz, present.
Mayor Mike Gonzalez, present. Citizen participation. I have Miss Minnie Slaughter. Do you want to wait till we get to item 8? Or do you want to speak now?
I can wait till 8.
Okay. George? Okay. Mayor and City Council comments. Ms. Tracy?
No comment?
Dottie?
No comment. No comment.
No comment, sir.
No comment.
General business consent agenda, items 1 and 2, we can make a motion to pass at the same time. Item 1 is adoption and approval of city council minutes for May 16, 2019. Approval of previous month's bills paid and financial reports. Is there a motion for 1 and 2?
Make a motion to pass item 1 and 2.
Second?
Second?
Tracy seconds. Do you have a question for me?
No. I didn't do that.
All in favor? And all 5. General business, individual consideration. Item number 3, recognition of former council members R.M. Andy Anderson and Richard B. Rodriguez. I just want to say a big thank you to these two gentlemen here. They spent a lot of time on this city council board. Years with no pay, volunteered time. I believe that shows a lot in the consideration that they have for this town. I thank them for everything that they have done for this city. I don't know if they would be willing to run again in the future. I don't know, but I would welcome them. I would welcome both of them back, and I want to thank them for their service. At this time, I want to bring Richard Rodriguez up front. Sir, I appreciate everything that you've done. Thank you. Thank you. Very welcome for what you've done. I appreciate it. Sir.
I just want to thank all the citizens of Elmendorf for having us here in all these years, about 14, 15 years or something like that. And now I look back at it, and I had never thought much about what we have accomplished in the whole time. I was just going forward for whatever we were doing. But since 2003, since I came on, there's been a lot of changes. And this council that we've had all these years, we had our little differences up and on and all that stuff, but we really did get to work. We accomplished a lot and all that stuff. But all these years, I want to thank everybody, our administrative, all the council members, and everything, and also the citizens. Thank you very much. I liked it. I appreciated it. Thank you. Okay?
At this time, if I could have Andy. Andy, thank you very much for what you've done. We appreciate you. Thank you.
All right. I would like to thank Mayor and the council members, staff, Chief, Mike. I want to thank you all for this recognition. It was a great experience for me, many years that I was on there. But I just want to thank each and everyone and the citizens that elected me over and over again. I appreciate that. So I wish all of you well.
I want to say something also, if I may.
Yes, go ahead.
I want to personally recognize this man because for 5 years we were able to work together very well. There were quite a things that we together went around checking them out and things like that. And also he's one of the guys that we should give him credit for this project that we have been working on, which is going very well, and I'm hoping that it would go well and finish that. He was one of those that took a big part in that. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Item number 4, discuss some possible action regarding a rezone request from Roland Hanson for a map amendment to ordinance 12-12-2013-1, the city of Elmendorf zoning ordinance, property location 9047 East Loop 1604, property ID number 159226, Elmendorf, Texas 78112, from R1 residential to M2 heavy industrial and manufacturing, along with recommendations from the Planning and Zoning Commission. Yeah. Go ahead.
The Planning and Zoning Commission did meet today, and they approved the recommendation from moving it from R1 to M2. We do have representatives of Select on site here to address you. I believe if from our last conversation, I believe you were gonna bring in, and kind of show what your plan would be to bring it up to meet the environmental codes and so forth.
Yes, sir.
Should it be approved.
Okay. Would you like me to get up there and address?
I have,
Go ahead.
does this mean that the zoning committee is requesting that we approve it?
That's the recommendation. Yeah, that's right there in front of you.
And
With that
being-
said,
I'm not done yet. There's a report that I'm looking over here, and I don't know if they took into consideration, actually County Fire Marshal Office from them.
They're here if you want to ask them, the planning and zoning.
I'll get to them here in a little bit.
And as of now, and I'm going through it some more, I didn't mark them at the house, but I'm doing it right now. And I'm going through 7, 8
There's a bunch.
violations that they found. I don't know if those were taken into consideration or whether approving it or become the recommendation, Now, I would like to ask what basis do you have to recommend that we accept your recommendation?
Go ahead, George.
All right, we made a very basic bureaucratic decision. Is the property eligible to be rezoned? Answer was yes. We had a written request from the owner. There's no reason not to. That said, we expect them to be good citizens. That goes without saying. To act like grown people in complying with what our community expects. We can approve it, Polo, but, you guys had the political side of it. We just had the bureaucratic side, so it was our decision based on that. We have no reason to deny it. But the political side is up to y'all and to deal with them, and that's why I wanted to address y'all, to make that very clear that I don't think we can deny that variance from the Planning and Zoning Commission standpoint, but you guys got a political decision to make. There we leave it.
Mayor,
Yes.
part of the discussion, we did discuss, since we're asking about the fire marshal report, we did discuss that. We talked about the timing of it. It's dated in February, but they actually did not receive it until May. I talked personally to the fire marshal who did the report, so there's not really any explanation with that. Also let them know that Mr. Bailey and myself met with Mr. Hanson, and we talked about moving forward with the project. So I'll give them an opportunity. I just want to let them know what they consider, since that's what you asked, that they consider that moving forward, they realized there were some things that needed to be done. However, if they're not going to get the change and they're going to have to move, then spending the money doesn't make sense. So that was really the thing. It's kind of a cart horse issue, and so I think that's what George was talking about with regard to y'all make the political decision. So we did talk about that, and also there were no protestants at the planning and zoning. There was nobody that spoke against it, so that went into it as well.
In addition to what Mike says as well regarding the timing and so forth, also they wouldn't be able to come in and apply for a building or construction permit because the council had already turned down their request before, so we wouldn't be able to grant it. So at that point, if they were trying to bring the stuff up to code beforehand, they would be doing it without a permit, which is also against against our code. So again, with what Mike said, is again a cart horse type thing. But it's my understanding that they are willing to address the issues in the report.
I wish I could understand when you say political, but it sounds like just because we have the power as a politician or whatever, we're doing what we feel like. No, it's not that. It's whether we're doing the right thing or we're doing the wrong things. They might vote against me, you know, 4 or 5 against me. But I just want to see the clear picture as where we stand, as this is what we're discussing. We turned it down one time. What's the difference now? What gonna inspire me to change my mind? Where I see here in a report something that doesn't inspire me to make a positive decision. So I'm not thinking anything about political, and let's put that away. Let's see what can we do that would benefit Elmendorf, okay? Because I work for Elmendorf.
Manuel, what's next? Then you're next.
With that being said, I know, Cody, you made a comment about first they have to get something done before they can start the process. You know, on the same token, with that being said, I also have a voice for Elmendorf, and I was always taught in business, and that's what I do every day. And no disrespect to you guys, but I also know before I start a business that I have to cross all my T's and dot all my I's. And if there's this many violations, then before any business starts, it has to be corrected. And if my understanding is correct also, that this business was started before they came to you.
That is true, and I'm not trying to speak for them, but at the time, they were unaware that the property that they had purchased was actually in the city limits.
Yes, sir. But, again, no disrespect. If I'm starting a business, I gotta know what I'm getting myself into. I gotta know if I'm gonna come to this, what is the challenges I'm gonna have, is this in the city limits, is this not in the city limits? I mean, I'm sorry, with all due respect, I am a voice for Elmendorf as well, and I do agree 100% forward. Unless we're looking at, give me a reason why I should. You know, come back to me, tell me, hey, this has been done, this has been corrected, then I don't have a problem with it. But until then, you know, this community, we are that voice, and I do have concerns because I live here as well.
Ms. Linda?
Okay, I just want to bring it to your attention that these gentlemen weren't able to attend the PMZ meeting, and you did mention that there was no one to protest, and I happen to know that the neighbor is here, and he may be one to voice his opinion in a little
I
bit.
just meant at that meeting.
I know, but I'm just saying, but now he's here, like they're here, and they'll speak, and, you know, I know that he'll probably speak. Okay, and then the other thing being that, I've never felt comfortable with any of this. When they told us that they never heard of TCEQ, I find that very hard to believe. I have concerns that even if you were to meet all the inspection requirements, that you go back, you'll backslide, you know. I don't have anything to do with it, I'm sorry.
Any other questions?
Would you like to hear her?
Any other questions from council?
No, I just.
No,
I'd like
I have
to
no
hear
question.
from you.
Sir? No.
Neighbor, okay?
Yes, you'll go last.
Sure. I'm Albert Macias. I live I'm probably like 2 houses down from where they're at. On 8995. That's the address. So my concern is, I mean, these people making noises all sorts of hours. You know, I mean, I'm a residential there. I've been there 4 years now. So my concerns is they come in and out all sorts of hours. You know, they got equipment moving around. They're always welding in the weekends, working. I mean, I have a fabrication shop here down the road, but it's an industrial place, you know. I mean, we did our homework. And to me, when they bought that property, I mean, it's clearly there, it's residential, you know. It's a house, it's not a commercial, you know. It's just like me purchasing my house, you know. So my concerns are just, you know, we get noises all sorts of hours.
Yes, sir.
He's my neighbor too, and so, and he can vouch for it too, you know. And then you got, I mean, I don't know, I see chemicals coming in and out, I don't know
there and I wanted to, I wasn't able to pinpoint exactly where you live, because I wanted to talk to you about it personally and see.
It's a white fence, with a white, wooden fence.
But it's locked always, right?
Yeah, it has a white gate. Yes, sir.
Yo, you can go ahead and speak.
Good afternoon, good evening. My name is Bob Reese. I'm the Vice President of Select On-Site Services. I represent Ron Hansen. So, we originally asked for rezoning on the property and it was denied. We were asked to do some things and bring it back in front of the city council. There were some environmental concerns out there and of course regulatory concerns. So I'm not sure if you're aware from the last city council meeting, but when we bought the property, we bought it in good faith, thinking that it was a commercial piece of property. The sellers, it was a for sale by owner, they assured us that it was a commercial piece of property and outside the city limits of any city and in the county. We then went to our title company and they did a title search in Bexar County and also agreed, based on what they found at Bexar County, that the property was indeed in the county and not in any city limits. How that happened, I don't know, but that's what the title company reported to us. So we went ahead and closed on it, thinking that it was in the county with no city ordinances or restrictions, and we started operations there. Several weeks later, the police chief visited me and had me come down to talk to him in the conference room here, along with the city secretary, and they showed me the plat map, and indeed, it appeared that once you annexed certain properties around here that were, I believe, right on, I believe they were in the border of your ETJ already, and you just absorbed them. And I was told they automatically were rated R1 because of that, because there had been no rezoning request at that time. So we worked with the city administration, tried to figure out what we could do to resolve the issue, because now we had the property and we were already operating on it, thinking that we were in the county. So Ron came to the city council meeting and they declined his request. There were some concerns about environmental issues, particularly because we move oil in and out of there to service Halliburton's fracking equipment. We move fresh oil in and out in bulk, and we move waste oil in and out in bulk. And at that time, we had tanks that Pilot Thomas had given to us for the oil, and they were sitting on the ground, and we were told that because of the environmental issues that the city wanted us to mitigate the problem and ensure the city, when we came back in front of them, that there was not going to be oil spill out there or contamination. So we had Pilot Thomas bring out containers that those oil tanks go in. And each of those containers are capable of holding at least, as a minimum, the entire contents of the tank itself should it spring a leak. In addition to that, since my meeting with the gentleman over here, I told him that we would increase the containment area if the city council felt that was necessary. And the containment system, we didn't have the container or the oil tanks in right now, you deemed insufficient. So we would be willing to build an earthen and rock berm around the tanks that are inside the containers in case the containers leaked with polyethylene cover or whatever. We'll go ahead and talk to some environmental specialists if you agree to rezone it, and we'll put the tanks and the containers inside that secondary containment system. So that's one thing we will do. We also wash our trucks out there, and they are oily, and we have put down a polyethylene cover and put a berm around it to contain any residual oil that comes off of the equipment that we bring in there to be washed. But if you approve the change, we'd be willing to put a wash bay in there with a recycling system that recycles the water so that we're not We don't have a lot of water usage out there for washing our vehicles and separate the oil from the water. So we don't have oil and water spilling out on the ground because of the environmental concerns. And then third, fourth, because of the sound issues that we have out there, we realize that there are noise issues going on during the day and sometimes during the night. And we want to be good neighbors, and so if the variance or the rezoning is requested, we would be willing to start construction of a barrier wall around there, a sound-type barrier wall, maybe 8 feet tall, whatever was recommended, to reduce the noise pollution into the neighborhood. But keep in mind that as 1604 obviously expands with the number of trucks running down there per day and the noise they produce, I'm not sure that we produce any more noise than the heavy equipment that moves down there, up and down that road 24 hours a day. But we would, as good neighbors, be willing to do that to reduce the noise pollution for the neighbors. I do understand the situation there. As far as the fire marshal's report goes, that was something we were asked to have after the first decline. We were under the impression that it was what Ron thought was called a Tier 2 fire inspection. And according to the fire marshal in his county, where he lives in North Texas, that was an inspection that had to do with volatile chemicals, or the possibility of spills, etc., explosions, so on the property. But the fire marshal came out and he looked at the residence that we have there and the garage that was already there, etc. And he noted things like, you know, the garage, it was a residential garage, it had regular wiring in it, and it wasn't inside conduit, like a commercial building is required to have. And things like there were not enough fire extinguishers there, or they weren't in the right place, or the kitchen vent hood, you know, needed a fire extinguisher system. He felt that the road was inadequate, based on what I read on the report. A bunch of different things that are relatively easily fixed. So we have been using Luna's Construction for some of the caliche that we have there, and we've talked to them, and they can certainly construct a road that meets the fire marshal's requirements. And instead of just caliche on it, we'd be willing to chip seal it, so the fire marshal's concerns about getting a fire engine down in there and getting it stuck would be gone. So it would support the 75,000-pound weight he's talking about in the report, etc. Drawing up things like an escape plan and fire drills and so on, those are easily fixable things that we can do. But as we said, and as we talked about with the city administration, when I sat down last month to have the meeting with them, I said, look, I'll fix this before the city council meeting because we just got the report. But I said, what about pulling permits? And he said, well, you legally can't pull permits because you're out of compliance over there. And I said, now I'm caught in a catch-22 situation. We bought a piece of property that we thought was in the county. We thought there were no ordinances. We're willing to comply with whatever you want to do to be good neighbors, but I can't do it because I can't pull the permits. I could have had it all done by now before I came in front of you. And I said, you know, on top of that, I don't want to spend $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 fixing everything and making it meet the fire marshal's requirements for a commercial operation and then have you decline, and we've basically wasted our money. So that's where we're at on it. We want to be good neighbors. We want to do the right thing. We've been caught in the catch-22 from the beginning, and I'm asking you to approve the change and let us go ahead and get these changes made and bring it up to compliance so we're good citizens for the city of Elmendorf. If there's any questions, I'll take them.
As of when you've been functioning as a business?
Pardon me, sir?
As of when have you been functioning as a business?
It was March of 2018, I believe, when we bought that property.
And your business is legally been registered with the state or?
Oh, yeah,
whatever?
we're registered with the state, yes, sir. Yes, sir. And we also, by the way, have registered with the Texas Department of Environmental Quality, and I think we turned that into the city.
Yes, we did.
Right after we had the first conversation.